Okay. Should be good to go here in a bit. Oh, stop it. These pop-ups. All right. Welcome to the Wrestling Pod. I'm your host, Carlito Santiago, and today we're here to talk about what went down on Monday Night Raw in Seattle. Of course, jam-packed episode featuring some matches. Of course, as we lead to the Showcase of the Immortals, the greatest stage to ever exist in the history of professional wrestling. So, Adam Pearce want to construct some business with Seth fucking Rollins, and so he did. Adam Pearce was in the ring. He called out Seth Rollins. A hooded figure appeared on the desk. Then a bunch of other hooded figures came in to the ring, did a quick little scramble, and Seth Rollins, of course, appeared in front of him, taking off the mask. Pearce implored on Rollins not to go to war with the Vision, especially since he is not medically cleared after being 5 months removed from surgery. Adam Pearce warned Rollins about the possibility of there being a risk. All these, a little attacks, little runoffs. How long is that going to last? Until the Vision gets their hands on Rollins. And then what happens? So, that is what Adam Pearce was really telling Rollins. Before Rollins could even respond to his, or even rebuttal, Logan Paul and Austin Theory interrupted. They cut a generic heel promo, and they threatened to end Rollins here and now. And as they were about to approach the ring, Rollins faded in to the background. He put the mask on, and he faded. As the scramble continued from the men, all the hooded figures scrambled, got out of the ring, and Rollins was nowhere to be seen. Now, had they have just ended it on that note, this would have been good. This would have been a great opening segment. It keeps things kind of neat, tight with a little bow. Unfortunately, WWE has to extend this. WWE has to continue showing you exactly what they're about, because LA Knight hit the ring next, followed by the Usos. The babyfaces beat down the heels and left them scurried to Sanctuary. This felt over fucking booked. And if you don't agree with me, well, just think about it. I love the idea of having the hooded figures, and this is new Rollins' gimmick of, coming out of nowhere, fucking all dressed in black. Everybody in hooded figures can't tell who Rollins is because he's injured and he doesn't want to get hurt and severely hurt, so they came up with this idea. And I like that they used the Masked Man idea to keep going, right? That was great. With Rollins fading back, it shows that Rollins now puts the power into the hands of General Manager Adam Pearce. Do something about it, because I'm going to continue doing what I'm going to continue doing is what Seth Rollins is basically saying. Without even having to say a fucking thing, Seth Rollins is going to continue not hiding, but waiting and praying for opportunities. And he's a smart man, and he's not going to fucking let the Vision get to him. So, instead, we throw the LA Knight and the Usos at him, and it's like, what the fuck are we really doing? Are we going to get Seth Rollins versus Logan Paul, or are we going to get the Usos versus the Vision? Make up your fucking minds at this point. I forget who the World Tag Team Champions are. I mean, the Usos, I think, are still the World Tag Team Champions, if I'm not mistaken. But still, it's like they don't even fucking treat them like the World Tag Team Champions. We get to our number one contenders gauntlet. So, we start off with Bayley beating or besting the likes of Asuka, Ivy Nile, Io Sky, Raquel Rodriguez, and Lyra Valkyria, her own tag team partner. She has, of course, earned a shot and a date with Miss AJ Lee for the Women's IC Championship next week in San Antonio, Texas. Sky out-wrestled Valkyria first, delivering an over the moonsault and sent the former IC Women's Champion packing. When Liv Morgan appeared at ringside, of course, Women's World Champion Stephanie McKeer cut her off because Io Sky took on Raquel Rodriguez. Big Sexy, though, attacked the Genius of the Sky, sending her face first into the ring post. Now, of course, Io Sky capitalized on the distraction and eliminated Raquel because of it. Nile took advantage of a prone Sky and pinned her with a supposed surprising outcome. She just got in the ring, pinned her, 1, 2, and when the referee thought that Io was going to kick out, no, there was nothing here. It was just a pinfall. I don't like that just a bit, just because it feels, I don't know. I feel like Niles should have fucking got eliminated here. I think Io Sky should have had a roll, and Bayley should have eliminated Io Sky. But instead, they had Bayley overcome. That part in that section felt fucking forced. But nonetheless, it was pretty good. Bayley would then have to fight Asuka, and this was pretty good. Of course, Valkyria would come and reappear and take out Kairi Sane. I'm very sorry I'm sick, guys. I'm like... It's congestion, really, at this point. But, of course, the babyface would deliver the Rose Plant to the Empress of Tomorrow and score the final elimination. So, honestly, grade an A+, because it looked all good. I would actually give it an A-, simply because... Or, you know what? An A. Fuck it. Let's give it an A. He gets an A. Because it was, like... I don't know. I'm going to give it an A. Because there was just nothing... this is the one part that I did not like. That's Niall took advantage of the promo Sky and pinned her without fucking having to do much. Like, Sky made Sky look like a fucking, you know, but hey, she took the opportunity, she took to the advantage. I mean, shit, can't be mad at that. But I think it should have been Sky and Bayley. But hey, Niall pinned Sky, so there will always be right there will be that Niall defeated Sky in a one-on-one match. I don't know, man. Backstage, the original Al Grande Americano proved too impatient for Danhausen. You have been cursed. Yes, Danhausen cursed him ahead of his title opportunity, and this is something that I did like. By the time the match against Penta was about to begin, the original El Grande Americano was nowhere to be found. Instead, the imposter El Grande Americano strutted to the ring for the contest. A competitive back and forth that highlighted the in-ring chemistry between them. Americano had the champion reeling more than once and at one point used his power advantage to deliver a spine buster. Though Penta recovered and delivered a springboard Mexican Destroyer to secure the win and a successful title defense. Graded a B, and I do love how they did this. They set this up. Instead of having, because of the curse, they had a original Americano be scheduled, but then, of course, gave us the imposter. I like that. Even a friend at my work suggests that that was a great way to go about that. That was interesting. That was pretty cool. Love that idea. Ladies and gentlemen, the descension of the Judgment Day has begun. Enraged after losing his IC Championship last week, Dominic Mysterio hit the ring, flanked by Morgan and Raquel, and called out Finn, blaming him for his loss. The former Universal Champion, flanked by JD McDonough, made his way to the ring and confronted Dirty Dom. Now, realize that Roxanne Perez is nowhere to be seen in this. Just mentioning. Dominic told he told Mysterio that he had spent years trying to protect him, but this time, one has to learn how to fight one's own battles. Now, I know it says sometimes, I said this time, because it's this time now. He said that maybe his father was right about his son. He's a spoiled little prick. That earned him a cheap shot from Dom, and a brawl was from there. As, of course, we had Finn Balor give the nice Pele kick fake out. Inevitably, though, JD McDonough would betray his mentor and friend, joining the Judgment Day in a 4-on-1 beatdown of the Prince, even utilizing the Timekeeper's hammer and steel chair to lay out the Irish-born competitor. The remnants of the Judgment Day stood tall over their fallen leader to close out the segment, graded an A, and the last remaining original member of the Judgment Day has now decided to turn babyface. Now, does this set up, of course, what would happen with Balor? I mean, Balor facing Dominic for the IC Championship? That means that Dominic would have to win back the IC Championship from Penta, meaning Penta has a short title reign, which fucking sucks. Of course, I don't want that to happen. So, oh god. I'll give it its due because it's been way overdue. But Finn Balor was not relevant, and he still doesn't feel relevant to this day because they never really capitalized on what Finn Balor can provide to the group. I know Finn Balor's in his 40s, but like, he hasn't been relevant since 2016. And this really, we're coming up on a 10-year, like, he was 34 years old. They're coming up on 10 years, and that's all wasted. Mind you. That's all wasted because of because of Vince McMahon. But Not to blame everything on Vince. Of course, this is finally a time where Triple H can make Finn Balor shine, hopefully. Obafemi took on Rusev, what was an alright match, of course. Physical, albeit short, battle. The ruler overcame an early onslaught, exploded back into the match, and laid out the Bulgarian Brew. The winning streak continues. Now, conveniently enough, right before Michael Cole revealed that Brock Lesnar will be in San Antonio next week for Raw. That's interesting. Now, CM Punk cuts a promo. The World Heavyweight Champion CM Punk hit the ring for what is becoming a weekly main event promo segment, and I'm not a fan of it. Fuck these, like, give us a match to end the show. The best in the world said that Roman Reigns has never respected him, but he will make him at WrestleMania 42. His presence alone makes everyone level up, he said, but he admitted that he sank to Roman's level last week by mentioning the Wild Samoan Sika. Roman's father, mind you. The Usos cut him off immediately and demanded an apology, to which Punk asked why Roman is still sending his cousins to do his heavy lifting. That remained a theme for the rest of the promo, during which Punk recalled his history with the Anoa'i family, including working with Alpha in Allentown, Pennsylvania, for knowledge, a meal, and a roof over his head. So Punk obviously knows a lot about the Anoa'i family, and how much he has respect for Alpha, how he has so much respect for Alpha. Despite Jimmy and Jay's demands for an apology, Punk instead said, I'm sorry. I'm sorry for Roman not apologizing to the family that he had disrespected and treated like garbage for years. He added one last jab by calling the Usos young boys, and that just took it a step too far. Jay would get into a shoving competition with Punk until Jimmy, of course, stepped in and hit him in the head with the microphone. That's graded an A+, and I'm going to keep that A+, because that's there. And I love that Bleacher Report mentioned this. Jimmy was outstanding in this, if you guys do not notice. Of course, Jimmy was outstanding here. As where Jay brought the emanated anger, his brother was calm, spoke logically with respect towards Punk, which carried more gravity. And that right there shows the character of who Jimmy is. He is standing firm on what he believes in. He's standing firm. He's not going to... And it's funny because I think with Jimmy and Jay is that you can now play off. I think what they're trying to play off here is sinners a little bit. I think this is a little bit of a sinner. That line itself, the whole Bleacher Report line, it just shows, sinners a little bit. One brother is more into the passion, the fire, the anger. And one is more calm, logically spoken, respected. This also played into, of course, how Heyman was with Brock Lesnar and Roman Reigns. If you look at Paul Heyman with Lesnar, he was brute. He was all about fucking victimizing and destroying, and you hear the words, desecrating. As where Roman, he was more calm. He was more logical. He was more methodical with his approach to how things went. He took it calmly. And this approach, I believe that approach, being able to be calm, speak logically, still have respect, but still have that fire in you, burn, that carries so much fucking weight. It's such a better path to go down than it is to already be anger, right? I like that. I get that. I feel that. So, we end this with a fucking promo, a push, a jab, and so what? No MVP. Fuck that. Though this was not as strong as last week's show, but there was a lot to like here. It was not as strong. Graded overall a B. From Penta's victory and the match that preceded it, to the long-awaited Judgment Day split, to the show closing angle that introduced the Bloodline story into the main event of WrestleMania 42, this had a little bit of everything. Even if it may not have presented as a more dynamic episode. Thrown into a aforementioned women's gauntlet and a big night for Obafemi, and you have a steady building block episode on the flagship show. Graded a B, and they do say that the Raw Women's Division is the highlight here of this week. I don't know. But if there's anything to check out, go check out Punk's promo. Go check out, of course, the Judgment Day bit, And, of course, go check out the women's gauntlet match, which, of course, kind of fed us much here. But, anyway, that was Raw. What did you guys think? Let me know in the comments down below. Don't forget to subscribe, drop a like, comment down below, and turn on those post notifications so you never miss a stream. I will be back next week to give you what went down on Monday Night Raw. We are 6 weeks away from WrestleMania, and I will be back on Saturday to give you the SmackDown summary. Also, next week, they're going to be in San Antonio, Texas, which is interesting because it is what? There's that breaking glass. It is 3/16. It is Stone Cold Steve Austin Day, baby. And I got a surprise for Stone Cold Steve Austin, and I got a surprise for, of course, St. Patrick's Day. So, I'll see you guys